blessed love family, blessed love family. It's that time of the week again, and welcome to Afua Speaks and Community Conversations. I'm expecting a full house tonight, as we always have anyway, my brothers and sisters. And we've got a lot to talk about. I need to get a green screen. I keep kind of disappearing in some weird ways. I actually have got a green screen, but it's a bit small, so I haven't bothered with it. But yes, my family, as usual, we will wait for the community to gather. We'll make sure that all our mediators are in and ready. Big up All About the Black. Big up Rima Truth. I see you there. Yes. One of our moderators is not very well tonight, but we've got enough to cope with the events of this evening. So yes, my brothers and sisters, wow, we've filled up very quickly. I usually wait until we've got at least 100 before we commence proceedings. So blessed love, family. Blessed love, blessed love, blessed love. I hope you've had a great week. And tonight we're going to be pretty much looking at the last 3 posts that I've put up on Instagram. Yes, Anointed, big up. I forgot to big up Anointed, one of my prayer warriors out here. Wonderful, mighty man of God. Big up, Anointed. Yes. So yeah, we're going to be dealing with the last 3 posts that I put up on my Instagram. You may have seen it. Most of you have probably seen it, I think. I wasn't able to get it up onto I wasn't able to get it up onto YouTube, but I know most of you look at Instagram as well. But before we get into the kind of real meat and potatoes of this evening, what I want to do is talk a little bit about Child Q. Now, I know everybody knows who Child Q actually is. I know everybody's aware of what has been going on this week. There was a with the little girl, basically, in case you don't know, actually, the little girl who 2 years ago was 15 years old. She's probably about 17 years old now. But she was strip searched while on her period and at school. She was strip searched while on her period and at school because they thought she had cannabis on her. So initially, she was taken out of an exam or a class or something, and she was asked to empty her pockets or whatever, in the way that schools often do if they believe that the young people have drugs on them. No drugs were found, so the school went a step further and called the police. This was after some kind of consultation with the local safeguarding board. Unbelievable. And I've actually read the safeguarding report. I've spent a lot of time reading that over the last 24 hours. There was a reason that I didn't actually jump on the bandwagon with everybody and Yes, brothers and sisters, that was so weird. So I'm back. My internet just went. Vroom. Apparently, it was in the area because I've just seen a message from my neighbor. So yeah, I am back. I am back. I am back. Do you know what? I actually haven't had any issues like this. Um, I haven't had any issues like this since I was in Tanzania. Actually, that used to chip out all the time, didn't it? Put up a one if you can hear me, because I think I'm back. Yes. Yes, brothers and sisters, that was interesting. So, proper one if you can hear me, guys. Got to make sure that I'm properly in. I can see everything looking normal, but can you guys hear me? Oh, I can see a yay. So, yeah. Yes, my brothers and sisters. So, uh, that's interesting, you know. Everything happens for a reason because perhaps who's not supposed to be here will jump off and not be interested. Maybe they think it's not going ahead. But anyway, we were talking about child Q. And yes, it is disgusting. I just saw somebody in the comments saying it's disgusting. What happened to that young lady? What happened to that young lady was tantamount, well, it was sexual assault. That's what that actually is. Albeit that it may never be seen in that way because the police do have powers to stop and to strip search if they feel they should. Excuse me, if they feel that they should. But actually, they would maybe want to say that it's malpractice. I think criminal charges should be brought and that it should be sexual assault. It's absolutely abhorrent what took place. There was no appropriate adult called. Not that an appropriate adult would have given or should have given permission for something like that. I certainly wouldn't if it was my child. That would not be happening. But what I find really interesting is that the safeguarding board, which is where I was at before the internet cut, but the safeguarding board were consulted. That's what it says in the report. And I urge you all to get the report. I do believe it's a matter of public record. I was sent it. But yeah, the safeguarding board were actually consulted at the point that the teachers decided to call the police, and they actually gave the go-ahead for that. They said to call the police. Whether or not they didn't actually give the green light for the police to strip search the child, but that child was left in a room alone with two officers, albeit that they were female officers. But it's still a sexual assault. She was left in a room alone with no teacher, no appropriate adult. The teacher should have been operating in loco parentis, which is the absence of the parent, or the parents certainly should have been called in that situation. So, as I say, there was a demonstration today outside Stoke Newington police station, which incidentally have a history of serious racism in that borough and particularly in that police station. So there was a demonstration today. It looked like it was very well attended. I wasn't able to make it. I've literally just come off the motorway, my brothers and sisters. So yeah, all over the place today. I've literally just come off the motorway. I wasn't able to make that, but there is also a visual taking place. I've put it up on my Instagram, and it's taking place at Stoke Newington Police Station. There'll be a procession, a march from Stokey Police Station to Hackney Town Hall on Sunday at 1 p.m. So on Sunday at 1 p.m. So hopefully I'm going to be able to make that. I think I should. And if we want to get together a His Time Is Up delegation, please DM me. I think that would be a really good idea. I think we should give this as much support as we possibly can. I know that there is a petition out at the moment as well. We need to get more than 5,000 signatures. That's the amount that I think they're aiming for. But honestly, my brothers and sisters, it's really, really, really important that we back that as much as we possibly can. So that's as much as I want to say about Child Q at the moment. I'll probably cover that more as we know more. But I just thought it was really important to share my stance on that. And I really want to be involved in terms of the family and the legalities and where it's going. I will say, though, that the Black Child Agenda, Cheryl Phoenix, she's involved with the family and she's moving forward in a legal case with them, with a legal case. So I feel that they're in really good hands. That's her specialist area when it comes to the violation of Black children in the school system. She's very, very, very good at what she does. And I've got every faith that she will take this where it needs to go. So we'll support as much as we can. We'll support as much as we can. I've just been told there will no longer be a solidarity march. Instead, there will be a solidarity rally, Hackney Town Hall, on Sunday, the 20th of March at 2 p.m. So that's a rally at Hackney Town Hall on Sunday, the 20th of March, 2022, from 2 p.m. Thank you for that, my sister. It looks like it. Anyway, it's a trusted source, so I know that's not going to be kind of inaccurate. So yes, my phone doesn't stop freezing. That's as much as I'm going to say on the young sister at the moment. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. You may or may not have seen a post that I put up earlier on this week. I didn't have time to upload the pictures here, so I'll have to show you from my phone, as I do. And so this is the individual here. It's on Instagram at the moment. His name's Marcus Ramsey, aka DJ Marcus Nasty. So I just want to make the point as well. They are alleged allegations. We don't know anything until it's been in a court of law. But what I have to reiterate to anyone that's new to this platform, what I have to reiterate is that that we believe victims on this platform. And why do we believe victims? For those of you that are new and don't understand or don't know what the platform's about, we have created a safe space for victims of sexual abuse, particularly historic victims of sexual abuse, to be able to express their voices. Because so often we see what we've seen this week. We've seen it so many times before. Those of you that have been here from the beginning, we've seen it so many times before. Somebody's saying they can't hear anything. Really, guys? Is that so? Jackie Jack says she can't hear anything. Can you put up a one if you can hear me, guys? So many technical difficulties tonight. Somebody's saying they can't. Why can't she hear anything? Is that the case, moderator? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. So it's just you then, my sister. Seems to be your device alone. It's about a 3-minute delay on this, 2-second delay on this thing. Anyway, as I was saying, for so long we have had an issue within our community where there's so much victim blaming that goes on, so much victim blaming, so much vilification and demonization of victims, that we create a space where victims are believed. And on this platform, not in a court of law, but on this platform, women are believed, and it's up to the men to actually prove their innocence, as far as we're concerned with the His Time Is Up campaign. That's what we're about. Everybody knows it. And I make no apologies for that either. But we say alleged. We say that they are alleged situations. Now, I had a conversation with the young man earlier on this week. And it was a very civil conversation, actually. Very, very civil conversation. And I have to say that he was a very charming individual. Very, very charming. And it seemed to me that he either doesn't remember, because by all accounts he was off his face on drugs quite a lot of the time, or he's a very skillful liar. But I do believe the victims. And I've been given permission tonight to share one of the victims' stories. Now, there should have been a victim coming on tonight that would have shown her face, and she would have spoken openly, as so many people have on this platform. But because of the backlash and the vilification and the defending that's been going on from people who would have no idea about what has gone on from what hasn't, she doesn't feel able to do that tonight. So I feel really sad about that. I feel sad that this victim has been intimidated to the point where she doesn't feel able to come on and share her story. And also, you know, to potentially have Marcus Nasty come on, because I did invite him. He declined. He said he'd rather speak to the police, which is fine by me. But, you know, maybe if the victim came on, he might feel compelled to come on and face her. But unfortunately, with the barrage that we've had, I had no idea that this man was a well-known individual in the music business until I put his picture out. I wouldn't have cared because I was contacted by several victims over a period of months. It's not a quick thing. It never is. And as you all know, those of you that watch the platform regularly, that are aware of the habits of his time is up and our methodology, you will know that it takes more than just one person calling somebody out before we put someone's picture up. One person, then two people, then three people, then three sets of investigations and verifications and cross-referencing, and then we put the picture up once we are satisfied. So that's actually the same process. And Marcus Nasty had been sitting in my DMs probably since last September, October time. So it's taken up to this point. Sorry. Yes, I'll announce that in a second, all about the black. You can see there that we're going to have a £3 challenge tonight. We're still fundraising. And I'll get to that in a minute anyway, because there's a little bit I want to say about what had gone on with the legal situation and the clerks and all of that. So we'll get to that in a second. But yes, and remind me as well all about the black. But yes, so this individual, as I said, is either doesn't remember off his face, or is a very skillful liar, is all I've got to say with that. As I say, in a court of law, they are alleged. Nobody knows for sure. And I will point out as well that even a court of law, when it comes onto these situations, sexual abuse, especially historic sexual abuse, rape, paedophilia, whatever it is, if it's historic, very, very difficult to prove, because it's that person and the other person, isn't it? Unless it's a group situation. Very difficult to prove. And we've seen this week also, I've spoken to a key individual that was involved in the case with an individual called, gosh, what's his name again? Very strange name. Wallace Hermit, that was exonerated, found not guilty in a court. But as I said, I've spoken to some key individuals that are quite close to the case. I won't say who, because that isn't what I need to do right now. We are working in the background to bring that story to the fore, because there is a lot that is not known about that court case and why that person got off the way that they did. Double D, I understand that you've given a full apology, which, you know, that's fine, my brother, but don't be so quick to do that, because there's so much that's caught up within this. There's things that perhaps the court didn't actually know or weren't allowed to know, that were really crucial to the case. And so I think we should just watch the space. But what I will say is that in these situations, it is not unusual for there to be an acquittal if you even get the case to court at all. That is the nature of this beast, and that's why we have the His Time Is Up campaign, because for too long, victims have not been believed, victims have not been given justice. You know, it's 0.8%, 0.8. Let me just let that marinate for a bit. 0.8% of these types of crimes, rape, sexual abuse, and paedophilic allegations that even make it to court. And I think it's 0.6%. with 1.8 of convictions. That is extremely low. That's practically none at all. So that's the nature of the beast, okay? That is the nature of the beast. And I wouldn't be so quick to exonerate, I keep forgetting this guy's name, honestly. It's Wallace Hermit. I wouldn't be so quick to exonerate him, not with what I've seen and heard and who I've spoken to in the last week or so. So watch that space, because we are going to cover the story from a different angle. And hopefully in time, we may well be able to get that victim on, if we can do that. I hope we can, but we'll see. So that's that. And I think it's important to bear that in mind as well, my brothers and sisters, when we are looking at the next couple of cases, because we've seen the same thing over and over and over again. I've called out probably about 25 different men on this platform over the last 15 months, maybe even more. I think it's actually more. And on most of the occasions, the majority of the occasions, what we have is friends and family come rushing in, you know, work colleagues, business associates, or whatever, that come rushing in to defend these people. It is so important for you to understand that just because you know somebody to be a stand-up guy, a lovely guy, or whatever it is that you think they are, it doesn't mean that they are not capable of these things. We've seen it too many times. And I want to understand, yeah, I want to understand why it is that people do not understand that. That's what I want to understand. You know, how many times do we invite the paedophile to the cookout because everybody in the family is behind this person and not believing the child? Well, those children grow up. And I also, women do not come forward, okay, bare their soul, bring all of their issues and their trauma to the public just for the sake of it. And as far as I know, none of these people are big superstars that have any kind of money or any kind of motivation. People give me these kinds of examples all the time. Oh, you know, this happened to Chris Brown. Chris Brown is a Hollywood star or whatever he does. He's a music star. He's huge. There's going to be a lot that comes with that, and a lot of people that are on the make, which is actually something that's quite popular in America, isn't it? But, you know, and then we've got the footballers and things like that. This is not what we're talking about. We are talking about man from the ends. Okay. No, people don't talk at the time. People are always very scared at the time to talk out, particularly if you've got an individual who by his own admission was a very scary guy. You know, when I spoke to him earlier on this week, he said, you know, I said to him, you know, as far as I've heard, you are a very scary guy. He said, I am a very scary guy, or I was a very scary guy, is what he said. So for me, it's like, well, if you were that scary and you terrorized the whole area in your time, by your own admittance, then why would it be so hard to understand why women would not want to come forward at the time? That's the thing. And it's like, well, why didn't they say something before? Well, do you know why not before? Because there was never a platform like this before where they could come forward anonymously if they want to, just to tell their stories. There was never a platform like that. Now, nothing is ever airtight or foolproof, but I'm pretty sure that when we do what we do in terms of our investigations, that we have done as much as we can to make sure that people are telling the truth. But that's as much as we can do, because equally we weren't there. But on this platform, women are believed, because for too long they have not been believed. And it is so unfair that people will fly in, defend people, take a back seat, hear what's got to be said. You know, they think that it's some sort of social media jamboree clown show where I'm going to be holding up text messages and whatever, asking for receipts and all the rest of it. I'm actually quite sick of that narrative. I'm sick of that. And I would urge people that, you know, if you get a picture go up that is somebody that you know, that you go back and do a little bit more research and try to watch as much as you can, so that you can gain an understanding as to what this platform is really all about, why it started, where it started, and why it is we do things the way that we do it. Because for too long, women go to the police time and time again, and they are not heard. In fact, sometimes they don't even take a statement. Yeah. And even if a statement is taken, it takes 100 years for them to even bother to bring it to the CPS. And then the CPS turn it down because they say not enough evidence. Why do they say that? Because their thresholds are the same thresholds they have for most crimes. Yeah. What we are campaigning to do is to ensure that even things like that are changed. They need to have different thresholds. They do to an extent. Okay. But in terms of what the CPS will accept and not accept as a weight of evidence before they bring forward a prosecution, it's abysmal that they are not specializing in sexual abuse cases. So that's what we're doing. That is what we are doing. Now, Marcus Nasty is accused, okay? Marcus Nasty is accused of not pedophilia. I want to make that very, very clear. He's not accused of pedophilia. He's accused of gang rape and beating women. Now, he has assured me that he has never done anything like that in his life. But I'm going to share a story with you, brothers and sisters. Okay. Now, I've spoken to a young lady, amongst other young ladies. As I say, the others are very, very intimidated and very, very scared. Now, this young lady doesn't want to come on at the moment for other reasons. I won't actually state what they are, but it's not through fear necessarily for her. It's through other reasons why she can't come on at the moment. So she's allowed me to share her story. She says that if there's ever a court case, she will be more than willing to testify. And we're hoping that we can get it there, you know, against all these odds of 0.8% and what have you. Let's hope we can get it there. We've got so many different police reports in with Rat, with Peter Bailey, with different people. And all now, even with Soloid, all now, we cannot see any kind of arrest or whatever. But yet they were at my door trying to arrest me the other day. Remember the nature of this beast, my brothers and sisters. That's why we fight as hard as we do. Okay. So anyway, roughly about 10, 12, 13 years ago, let's call it 10 to 15 years ago. Remember, it's a long time. People are younger. It's going to be an approximation. But around that time, 10 to 15 years ago, there was a young lady who her cousin, according to her, was talking to Marcus Nasty. Now, she doesn't say that he was necessarily in a relationship with this girl, but they were talking. It was kind of going along those lines. And according to this young lady, she was invited out, or her cousin was invited out by Marcus Nasty to a club somewhere in Mayfair, in the back of Mayfair. Now, she dressed herself up, you know, going with her cousin. They were young, kind of, you know, early 20s, late teens or thereabouts. And she thought she was going to a nice club. That's what it was. Apparently, you know, they knew him. He was kind of well known in the music scene. She'd heard of him anyway. She said she wasn't really into that kind of music. Her cousin was, and she sort of played her a few things or whatever. But she became aware of who this person was at the time when she was going to this club. So anyway, they got to the club, and according to this sister, she was actually a bit shocked because the club didn't turn out to be a normal club. It seemed like it was in a basement. She had to go down into a basement, and it seemed like, you know, one of those seedy type places in the back of Mayfair. I know the kind of places that she's talking about where you maybe have escorts or something. I don't know. It wasn't a nice club. Let's just put it that way. And so they've gone into the club, and according to the sister, Marcus Nasty and his friends were there, but they were the only ones there apart from the bar staff, who seemed to be these two drugged out looking guys. Okay. So anyway, they kind of ignored it, rolled with the program type of thing. They were asked if they wanted a drink, and they were provided with a bottle of wine. Now, according to this sister, Marcus and his friends were kind of getting on with, I don't know, setting up or doing whatever they said they were doing at this club. But she was still a little bit suspicious. It was almost like, why isn't there anybody else here? But then she kind of relaxed and thought, you know what? She said, you know what? Perhaps we're early or something like that. So she said they got to half the bottle, and she started to feel really drunk, really, 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 really drunk. And her cousin started to feel really, really drunk. So she said that they went into the toilets because they couldn't understand why they were feeling this drunk. She said to her cousin, are you feeling really drunk? Because I feel really drunk. And they were like, yeah. So they've gone into the bathroom, the toilets, and they noticed a little bit of paper floating in the bottle of wine. She said for her, because she was a little bit green, she still didn't know what was actually happening at that point. But she said she felt that her cousin had got she'd kind of cottoned on. So they kind of tried to, what I call Jim Screechy out of the club. Trying not to be noticed. She said she felt like she was literally having to crawl on her hands and knees up the stairs, because that's how paralytic she'd become on half a shared bottle of wine, which was not usual for her. She said they made it out to the street. And once they were in the street, the guys came up, Marcus Nasty and his friends came up. And they started to vilify them. They started to take pictures of them, take the piss out of them, call them slags. She said what really resonates with her and what she remembers the most is the disgusting names they were calling these girls. They then tried to, then a member of the public came along. He could see that the girls were in a really bad way, according to this sister. So he tried to intervene, but he was a white guy. These were kind of, big, beefy black guys who were a bit intimidating for him. And they did actually start to intimidate this guy on the road to the point where he ran off and said he was going to call the police. Now, according to sister, they tried to fireman carry them back into the club, but they were kind of too heavy and it wasn't really working. So then they started to walk them up the road and just have a go at members of the public that were trying to intervene, telling them to mind their own business and abusing them verbally and what have you. But it seemed as if they were trying to get them to a certain place. She said that she really needed to go to the toilet. I mean, it was so bad that it was like she's going to wet herself. So that caused them to ask a doorman to let them into this hotel thing. It was like a hotel. And that doorman also became a little bit suspicious, but he let them in, according to this sister. She says that when she went into the toilets to go to the toilet, one of Marcus Nasty's crew came into the cubicle and attempted to rape her. But she went, she made up so much noise. And I suppose because the doorman was suspicious anyway, he came rushing in and got rid of this guy. She was taken to the hospital, but because she was so paralytic and gone by then, she started to kick off and assault the staff and sort of throw the bed around and stuff like that. Now, these things can be actually tracked when it comes onto those hospital admissions or being present at the hospital. I'll have to check with her if she actually gave in her name. I think she probably would have done if they presented at the hospital. So according to her, I said to her, is there any way that he didn't kind of know that somebody had slipped something in the drink? She feels that he did because he'd invited them there for that, or he'd invited her cousin there for that, and she'd followed her cousin, basically. So she actually, by the grace of God, got away from what was tantamount to a gang rape. And that's somebody who came to me in confidence. There are others who have said they were gang raped by Marcus Nasty. They have said that. And they've also said that the other man who I'm going to speak to tonight, who's an associate of Marcus Nasty, was involved in some of those gang rapes back in the day. Not paedophilia. Got to make that clear. And I've got to say again, I promised him that I would continue to say that they were alleged. And so I will. I'll keep my promises. But I need you to understand, Marcus, if you are watching, that on this platform and this platform alone, Afua Speaks, His Time Is Up platforms, we believe our victims. And there's a lot of detail in that story, a hell of a lot of detail in that story. I'm just kind of giving you the overview. There's a lot of detail in that story. Location, time, individuals, I believe her. I believe her. When I spoke to the young man, as I said, he was extremely polite and extremely plausible. And I wanted to believe him, actually. I wanted to believe him. But in speaking to all these women, I believe them. That's what Afua believes. And we are about trying to protect the community and to highlight these things and to give those women a space where they otherwise would not be heard. Now, the rest of it needs to go to the police. We always encourage women to go to the police. The problem being is that the police aren't helping. They seriously are not helping. If they were helping, Vincent Rapp would not still be on the loose. He really wouldn't. He would have been locked up years ago. This man has committed atrocities in front of people, in front of whole communities, and still he goes free. So this sister feels lucky. You know, she was very traumatized by the incident at the time. The women that I've spoken to are extremely intimidated. You know, even if they were over what had happened to a degree because of the passage of time, this has obviously rehashed everything in terms of the backlash and the reason that women don't come forward. This is exactly the reason why women don't come forward. And I'm really, really ashamed of our community that we, after so long in this country, we haven't developed, because it is the same backlash and community vilification that caused Vincent Ratt's victims not to speak out. That fear and his notoriety as a gangster, as a dangerous person and what have you. And we're seeing the same thing all over again. As I say, we were supposed to have a sister come on. She was willing to show her face. She was willing to talk about it. And after, the last week or few days or whatever it is since I put this up, she said to me, Afua, I want to, but I just feel like I've gone back into my shell all over again. I can't face that level of scrutiny. You know, it's so sad. It's so sad. I will say to you, Marcus, and the reason that I'm kind of speaking to the brother is because I did speak to him, and I actually believe him when he says that he's turned his life around, that he's no longer that guy. I actually believe that. I actually really, really believe that. And I've actually, done a bit of background check. This brother is from the area that I grew up in. This isn't Brixton or somewhere like that. It's somewhere I grew up. So I was able to put some context to him, and it does seem as if he's turned his life around. He's been doing a lot of good work and what have you. But if you're going to turn your life around, Marcus Nasty, there is an atonement that you need to do. And there is a confession that you need to make. You've gang raped women, allegedly. As I say, I believe them. And if that is the case, then actually that's a side of your life that you've not yet addressed. I've no doubt that you've addressed your knife crime and your robbing and whatever else that you told me that you used to do. I've no doubt that you have addressed those things. But I see it too often. A guy comes out, he's done a life bird for this and that and the devil knows what, and he starts a program for the young people, and everyone thinks he's a stand-up guy. And then something like this comes out, and that's an area of his life that was never, ever, ever addressed. But it's a horrendous story to happen. And as I say, it was for the grace of God that this young sister got out of that situation. But for the grace of God, I don't know what would have happened. She doesn't know what would have happened. But I think we can take a pretty good guess as to why those girls were called there in the first place. And it seems to me that they probably were given Rohypnol in the same way that Peter Bailey's victim was given Rohypnol or one of those drugs, because it's very fast acting Rohypnol and that kind of thing. So that is as much as I'm able to say. Brother says he wants to go to the police. He says he has gone to the police. I'm not sure what kind of report that he's made. I explained to his agent, I explained to her, because she actually contacted me and asked for me to call her. And I said that I would, I don't have a problem with that, not at all. So we had a conversation as well. She came in really strong and was saying, it's disgusting. You've put this stuff up about him. He's not a rapist and he would never do that and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of explained her position. I'm going to play a little bit of that because she told me that she wanted to tape me. And so I taped as well, which I would have been doing anyway. I did actually, sorry, 1 second, my people. I'm going to play a little bit of it. And what I will say about the agent is that, like any business person, she is wanting to protect her business. But I was a bit struck as a woman how little empathy she seemed to have for the issues and how little empathy she seemed to have for the women. She told me that she had been a victim of something like that herself. And, that she would never condone anything like that. And I've no doubt that she has been. But what I find really interesting, it's a phenomenon that we see over and over again. Even women that have been abused or raped or whatever in their time, once they know somebody and there is some kind of emotional connection, it's almost like the blinkers come down. The blinkers come down. Angor says, Afua, don't be taken in. Trust me, I've seen a lot in my time. and I'm not young. Yes, absolutely. No, you know what? I wasn't taken in. As I said, I wanted to believe the individual because he was very plausible. And yes, he has made attempts to turn his life around. I don't think anyone can take that away from him. But there is an issue lurking, and that is about gang rape. It's about beating women with belt buckles and all sorts of heinous stuff, you know? That is something that I hope will bear out in a court of law. But if this man is really truly trying to atone for his ways or his sins, so to speak, then I would say that that is an area of your life that you need to address. That's what I would say. And then you can be totally free of your demons. And how do you address that? I mean, that will be up to your victims, your alleged victims. You know, that will be up to your alleged victims. But let me play a little bit of this for you to hear, my brothers and sisters, of this conversation. As I say, you know, this woman was polite enough, but I just thought she was very cold. And she didn't seem to, it was all about defending her business and defending her client and so on. So this is me calling her back after she left me a DM. Can you hear that, guys? Put a 1 up if you can. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, that's way better. That's much better. Yes.
Okay.
He was saying.
So I was saying, as I said before, I would like to record this phone call if that's okay with you, because I really need to protect myself, my client here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't mind you if you do that at all. I would do the same.
That's not a problem. I would like to talk about this whole Marcus case and what did you base your posts on, because it's just absolute lie, and there's no such thing. Marcus is not a rapist.
How do you know this, Veronica?
I know Marcus.
Whether you know somebody or not, I need to make it really clear. And as a woman, it's quite surprising that you would say something like that.
Afua, can I just say, I've been a victim of something like this myself. So I would never defend anyone who I would think would be incapable of doing something like this, yeah? I work with Marcus. I know him. I know he's had problems in he's obviously, everybody knows that he's had issues, but he's turned his life around. He's a really good man. He helps everybody I know. He's helped so many people. And for you to post stuff like this, such a damaging post, you know how damaging it is to him, his family, his friends, the people he's working with. It's affecting everybody. Now I'm getting threats and being attacked. It's just dangerous to be posting stuff like this. You know, like, it's just damaging.
Can I ask how long you've known Marcus?
That's irrelevant. I'm asking you. What is your post based on?
There is a reason.
No, I'm gonna hear you out.
Please, there is a reason I ask you that, because at no point, and I had a very long, protracted conversation with Marcus yesterday, I think it was, for over an hour, and it was a very civil conversation. Now, there is no indication that Marcus has done anything like this within the last, let's say, 10 years. Okay? So they are historic sexual abuse claims. I've made that very clear. And also my platform represents historic sexual abuse in the Black community. That's what it is. So there's nobody that's saying that since his life has been turned around that he has done anything like this. I haven't had any reports saying that. What I have had are reports telling us about gang rapes, druggings and things like that. So because my platform represents those sorts of things, we highlight and we send out appeals once we've done our investigation. So I'll tell you what I told him, because neither of you are familiar with the platform from when it started. So if I get one allegation, which I did with Marcus months and months ago, I won't follow it up. And then I'll have two, if I get two. But I will never, ever start an investigation until I've had at least 3 separate people give a name in my DMs. That's what happens. Once that gets to the number 3, I will then speak to each and every one of those individuals. I will take genealogy. I will also seek corroboration, because that's the way, if these cases go to court, that's the way that the decisions will be determined. when it's a historic sexual abuse case, you do not have material evidence. What you need to rely on is corroboration, the volume of women that come forward as well, and also, as I say, genealogy. And genealogy meaning, who did you tell along the way? You're telling me this now, 10, 20 years later, whatever it is. But who did you tell along the way? Did you tell a best friend? Did you tell your mother? Whoever. And I will seek to interview every one of those people. What we also do is, just to make sure that it isn't a band of women being malicious, is that we've got a set of professional researchers that will go in and try to ascertain as much as we possibly can whether or not the three individuals are connected. Do they know each other? So there is an extensive process that takes place before I put the picture up. And the only motive in putting the picture up is so that we can get more victims to come forward. Because when you bring these cases to court, as so many people have seen, it's been highlighted in the press, one person falls down because there is no material evidence. And oftentimes a jury does not convict, even though that man is guilty. So we put the pictures out to get more victims to come forward so we can form a police case. Now, at the moment, not dissimilar to the first man that I started with, which was Vincent Rat of Brixton. These women are really, really scared of Marcus because of who he was. And I said to him, I'm inclined to want to believe you, Marcus, because you sound very, very plausible, very sincere. I can tell that you're remorseful for whatever you have done in the past. And I would really pray that it is just women being malicious and that you're not guilty of these things. But I have no motive because I don't know who he is. I'm not from that generation of music. I'm a woman in my 50s. So I have no idea who this man is before these women came forward. And in the interest of the victims, which is who I stand for, this is the way that we've been doing things. And we've been doing these things particularly because so many times women go to the police, it is not picked up by the police, it is thrown out by the CPS. And in the Black community, they are intimidated and silenced. And that's why I do what I do, Veronica. So when I ask you, how long have you known him? I would have to say, if you've known him from his younger days, then that's something. But if you've only known him since he turned his life around, then you're not actually qualified to comment if he's guilty or not. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that is a fair point. However, I really don't think posting pictures with accusations on social media.
They are alleged accusations, which is what I said.
But he's in the public eye, and if anyone who reads that, he's going to now write him off as a musician. He's worked really hard to turn his life around, yeah? Mm-hmm. He's been working so hard, helping so many people out. Now, imagine you are a promoter and you are booking him for his event, and you see something like this, or something like this posted online. What would you think? Would you not pull your money out and be like, I'm not booking this guy because there may be it just looks awful.
Do you know what I found? Sorry, go ahead.
It's absolutely damaging to his career that he's worked so hard to turn around, yeah? And it's damaging to my company. Now, I'm getting stressed. I'm a single mom. I'm worried that what's going to happen to me. It just doesn't affect just him. It's got a knock-on effect on so many people that he works with as well.
Okay, I understand that, but I've spoken to these many women, and what I have heard is absolute devastation in their lives. Some of them have been condemned to life sentences by their experiences, Veronica. What about them? What about them?
Yeah, but how? It's like what they. Why did nobody come forward and
because Marcus Nasty, by his own admission, was an extremely scary man. He was an absolute nutter in the East London area. Everybody knew him,
yeah, okay,
and he was because now they have an outlet where they can come forward, which is my platform. That's why now.
Yeah, but they could go to police now. I really don't.
Well, that's what we are. That's what we are put into. That's what. That's. I think you're very naive to even suggest that, because you clearly don't have a grasp of how these things are and how the police approach it. They're not just going to be put in a witness protection program. Honestly, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. I wish I could get them all off to refuge and make their police reports from there. But at the moment, what we're doing is we're putting together a cohort of all the women that have come forward before and after the picture, because we have had other women come forward after the picture went up, which was the whole point of the picture. We are putting together a police case, and when that is ready, we will go to the police, and hopefully those women will make witness statements. But that's not an easy job, and it's not also a quick task. Do you understand? Especially with the volume of women. So I would just say that that is the reason, and unfortunately, we have to do it that way, because how else will we appeal for victims? What would you suggest? How would we appeal? How would we appeal for victims? I can understand it from your standpoint, because it's damaging.
Well, there were again. Are you going to prove?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
I said that this. So if it's evidence, but these women have that this has actually happened.
I'm going to explain it again. I've explained it many, many times on my platform. If you don't believe
right, my brothers and sisters, it's actually a 30-minute conversation, so you kind of get the gist of where it was. And I'm just kind of going to repeat myself and whatever. Yes, she is Eastern European, by the way. That's why everyone's saying Irish. Well, I assume she is. She's definitely got an Eastern European accent, in my opinion. But yeah, that was the gist of it. I mean, was it just me, my brothers and sisters, or was it I, my company? I didn't really like that about her. At the end of it, she kind of came down and, you know, look, business is business at the end of the day. And this woman has no investment whatsoever into our community apart from her client, as far as I know. You know, she certainly wouldn't have been privy to the history and what has been going on in this community. She would have still been in her country in those days. I'm sure of it. She doesn't sound that old. And she doesn't sound like she was born here. So at the end of the day, yeah, all about her business. That's what I felt as well. So very detached from the events, you know, literally just defending her client. But did you hear when she said it's all lies? How do you know it's all lies? Because you've been told, you know, it just never ceases to amaze me. Never spoken to any of these victims, never met them, I'm sure. But in her mind, it's all lies because her client told her that. Well, we've got a different kind of eye. As I said, nothing is 100%. Yes, we believe the victims, and we've got justification to do that because we've spoken to them. We've heard their stories. We've investigated it at the end of the day. But when people come in and say it's lies and they've never even spoken to anybody, what's all that about? What's all that about? Yes, it is always going to have a knock-on effect on the family and friends. Blame the perpetrator. I've said that many times, my sister. Thank you. I cannot bear the weight of that as well. And that's one of the things that Marcus Nasty and I spoke about, because he was saying, you know, what about my family? What about my children and my parents and what have you? And, you know, I said to him, you know, we do support them if they want it. Probably won't, but if they want it, it's here. We get it, that it's going to be a difficult time for them. But what about the victims? What about, are we saying it's almost as if women don't get raped? It's almost as if children do not get abused. You know, the default position, time and time again, is to defend the perpetrator. Whether we know he did it or not, this is what we do. And this is what we do to victims. You know, I say it stops here. I say that's not the way we do things here. And we see the same pattern time and time again. You know, are all these women lying all of a sudden because I called out Vincent Rat? I mean, I was told I was lying with him when he's got children walking around who's he impregnated these girls at 12, 13 years old. You know, they've got the man's DNA and still they're calling us liars, or the women liars, or Afua is making it up and what have you and what so forth. You know, I just found that all very interesting, my brothers and sisters. That was just wow. You know, these are problems in our community, and it's all very well that you might want to make money off one of our brothers, this woman, but we got an issue in our community which actually you should just step aside, do your thing. You know, we're always the commodity, aren't we? But nobody really wants to deal with the issues that we got going on. Yeah. In a way, I think it's actually quite feisty for her to come the way that she did. Ask about it. Have a conversation, but don't come flying in and say it's all lies. My sisters ain't lying. There's no agency in it for them, you know? And as I say, not one, not two, not three, a lot of women.
coming forward. Where's the agency? It's 20 years later. Where's the agency in it? You'd have got further with it if you wanted to lie on somebody, if you did that at the time. You know? It just doesn't make sense. People don't analyze it in that way because they're invested. It's your son or your boyfriend or whatever, your dad or whatever, you know? So that's him. Let me park that to one side because I want to deal with the other post. But before I go there, we got a £3 challenge on today. Yeah. I think the moderators have put it in the chats. As I said, we're still fundraising. I received a very spurious looking email from Tony Clark today saying that he intends to press forward with the defamation case and accusing me of knowing some people that I just don't even know what he's talking about, really. That's harassment, right? This man's up in my email address. I haven't given it to him. I've never contacted him directly, but he feels the need to contact me directly. I'm actually a bit bemused as to why his solicitors didn't contact me, because obviously they're the people that I've been in contact with thus far. And I don't know why he thought it might be a good idea to contact me directly. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, Tony Clark. Don't contact me directly. I have not given you my email address at all. And I don't know why you would think it was okay to use it at the end of the day. So I'm going to kind of go into that a lot more next week as to how I see that and what's happening. But that's not the topic for tonight. But I just wanted to put that out there because I know they're in the bushes. They always are. And I haven't troubled these people since the court case. What is it, going on 2 weeks now? I haven't troubled these people. I haven't said anything. I haven't been in contact with anyone. And as I say, I never was in direct contact with these people. So why is this barefaced, crusty man thinks it's okay to come up in my email? I really don't know, because that's actually quite threatening for me. I don't like the fact that you have my personal details. I've got yours because you made a WhatsApp group called Afua Liar, and I've not dialed your number once. He's also trying to draw me into some other, I don't even know what to call that. So he explained some stuff and I just don't know what he's on about. Some names, some people. I mean, first of all, I'm supposed to have been involved with some people with financial wranglings that you're involved with. Now I'm supposed to be involved with another set of people. Don't draw me into your foolishness and try to cover your tracks. But that's another story, my brothers and sisters. You may also remember this individual. Yeah? His name is Jermaine West, Jermaine Carlos West, and he's AKA DJ Tapper at the end of the day. Now, apparently I've been sent some screenshots today that he's got some stuff up on his social saying bad mind Afua, and he was cussing me or whatever. I don't know you from Adam to be bad minding you, you know? Not the brightest of individuals, I must say. When I spoke to Marcus Nasty, fairly intelligent brother, you know, calm, and we were, as I say, were able to have a conversation. Not with this one, though. So now, again, intimidation, the backlash, his victims don't feel able to come on and speak either. And as we say, we don't have to. You know, this isn't about people's entertainment. It took some of our early survivors a very long time from watching in the bushes to actually come and show their faces. You guys know this, yeah? This is about telling their stories for them so that they can remain anonymous and try to work in the background to be able to get their witness statements into the police. All right. I know the moderators are on me. £3 challenge on the Cash App, my brothers and sisters. Let's see how much of you can donate £3 to the cause, to the legal battle, because apparently they are going for defamation. We'll see. And also because we need to get our infrastructure and our services off the ground. And we don't really want to beg nobody for nothing. I am so adamant that I don't. Well, I was adamant. Now I'm kind of getting to see like the slow pace of things. That I may well have to go for some kind of government funding, but I really don't want to have to do that. We should be doing this Black Pound. This is our issue in our community, and we should be doing it Black Pound. So yeah, let's see how much of you can hit the Cash App. £3 minimum. If you can give more, please do. And yeah, keep pushing it, moderators. But yes, let's get back to Mr. West, aka DJ Tapper Dunn. Nobody's bad mind against you here. Just like Marcus Nasty, they are alleged accusations until it gets to a court of law. But Again, I believe the victim because of the detail. Now, bear in mind, okay, I'm going to play you guys a recording from this individual also called me up. You know what I find interesting is that when I saw these two stories, and I ran them side by side because I have been told by victims that these individuals in their young days were involved in gang rapes together. But what Carlos West was getting up to behind closed doors has absolutely nothing to do with Marcus Nasty. Let me make that very clear. I'm going to say it again because sometimes people have a hearing problem on this thing. Marcus Nasty was not involved in whatever Jermaine West, DJ Tupper Dunn was doing behind closed doors. But when it comes on to girls in the area and gang rapes and things like that, it would appear allegedly that they worked together on occasions. Okay, that's what it is. And that's why I ran the story side by side. Marcus Nasty, as far as we know, has not been reported that he is a nonce, but it has been reported that Jermaine West, DJ Tupper Dunn, is allegedly a nonce. So he called me up. But what I was going to say, what I find really interesting, you see Brixton man are going to make death threats. They're going to try and flex their muscles. They're going to tell you they're going to do this and do that, or they're just going to hide in the bushes. Okay, this is what they do, making lots of threats, and they try to show they throw their weight around. But I knew from growing up in my area that East London men would front it. They'd call me. I just knew. And so that's exactly what's happened. So not only was I contacted by Marcus Nasty's agent, whatever, but I was also contacted by Tupper Dunn, who rang me up on Instagram. Yeah, none of them have my number. Who rang me up on Instagram and wanted to give his side of the story. Now, he was 100% less plausible than Marcus Nasty. And as I say, if Marcus Nasty is guilty of these things, then your name really suits you, doesn't it? It really, really does. If you're guilty of these things, which I believe the victim. So when it comes on to this guy, though, I've got less doubt, if you like. And it isn't doubt because I do believe the victims, but to me, he's made himself bang to rights. Because what I do know is that at least two of the victims have told us that the abuse took place in his parents' house. He was 17, 18 years old, and the children were 8 and 10. They do not know each other. They're separate victims, but it took place in his parents' house when he was at least 18 years old. Okay? Now, bear that in mind before you hear this recording, my brothers and sisters, and then you tell me what you think. Hear what I say, then hear his response. Really listen. And bear in mind that it is alleged by these sisters that he sexually abused them when they were children, 8 and 10 years old, in his parents' house. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Let's go. I take it you've seen the Instagram post.
Yeah, but why is that up then? Where did that come from?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that, am I? Because that's confidential.
So why can't you meet me at the police station now?
Meet you at the police station? Which police station might that be?
Putting up false allegations about me, and I need to sort it out now. Yes.
Well, you can report it to the police. You can report it to the police. You're quite welcome to do that. We would encourage the person or the people that have told us that, because it's more than one person, to go to the police as well. If you want to bring a case, you can do that. Other people have tried, they've failed. But when we put something out, we don't put it out just on say so. We put it out based on evidence, and that's been proven.
Yeah, so that's what I need. I need you to bring the case to the police station. Because right now,
that's fine.
I've got a phone call from one of my people that used to deal with you. And they said that you've done this sort of thing before. You're doing all this stuff. And they said you no longer work with them. I'm thinking like...
Hold on a minute. So, hold on a minute. Sorry, you used to work with me, did you say? You've just spoken to someone who used to work with me. That's got nothing to do with what I'm doing now. I've been doing a campaign about historic sexual abuse in the black community for the past 15 months. That's what I've been doing.
Sexual?
Yep.
You know what it is? I don't think...
So are you saying that when you were it's approximately, but when you were approximately 7 years old, 17 rather,
also, this is just one of the things. Are you saying that you didn't sexually abuse a child? Is that what you're saying? You have no knowledge of any of it. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Well, you would, wouldn't you? So
when I was 17, I wasn't even at home when I was 17. This is what I'm saying. How the hell are you not talking this?
I didn't talk about home. Why are you saying home?
I wasn't at home when I was 17.
I didn't say anything about your home.
I was a big man and left home.
I didn't say anything about your home. So what are you talking about then? I didn't say anything about your home.
When I'm young, I've done it.
I said when you were 17. I said, are you saying?
I wasn't young.
I said, at 17 or thereabouts, 17, 18, thereabouts, did you not abuse children? Is what I said.
No,
and then you said, I wasn't even at home. Well, you're over the age of consent, aren't you? At 17, you're an adult sexually.
So I'm trying to work out how you're trying to say it.
So what are you talking about home?
I'm a big man that's left home.
So what's that got to do with anything? Why are you so fixated on your home? What are you talking about?
See what you're saying? I've done. I'm saying kids do this stuff. I'm a big man out here.
What do you mean kids do that stuff? Have you never heard of a paedophile?
Do you know how many kids I've got out here?
I don't care how many children you've got.
Listen, I live with kids now. I'm with my missus now.
What does that mean? It means absolutely nothing, doesn't it? We know from several sources that you abused little girls when they were little. They're no longer little. They're grown women now, and so are you. So crack on. Go to the police. Do what you need to do.
7 of them, you know.
Sorry?
I'm talking to my missus. I'm not telling her the stories. They're saying 7, not even 1. 7.
I didn't say 7. I don't know what you're talking about.
What did you just say to me?
I said to you, you were 17, 18 years old, and that's just one story. I said several, not 7. Several.
You've got several stories.
That's correct. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put your picture up. And they're separate stories. They don't know each other.
Sure. At the end of the day, it's easy for people to scandal people. At the end of the day, I could phone 7 people and get
And at the end of the day, a perpetrator is never going to admit that they did it, are they? So we've got two sides of a story here, haven't we?
Sure.
I wouldn't put your picture up if we weren't sure.
Listen, I heard about your thing already. I heard like you do this, but what it is now, I'm gonna have to try and get further. I don't know how further I'm gonna have to try and take it for you to deal with your matter. But
well, I've literally just won a case in the High Court from perpetrators that tried to do me for harassment. So good luck.
Well, put it this way, you're not going to get paid off of me, you know. That's what it seems like you're trying to do, get paid off of people. But
it's not going to get paid off of people. We have got a problem in our community of men abusing our women, our children, and it's a problem, okay? I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid for it.
I'm not, listen, serious. I'm not going to argue. I just need to know
you remember you rang me and I'm giving you my opinion. I'm not arguing either. What I'm saying is I don't get paid for it. I have a job. That pays me. This I do not get paid for. This is about the love of my community. That's what it's about. I don't get paid for it. All right?
All right.
Brighty about paid for it. And according to the victims, he's not very wealthy. He's a waste man, apparently, who lives off children, according to them. Now, you told me, my brothers and sisters, did I mention anything about home? I just find it a really dubious reaction. You know, what about home? Sorry, I say to him, did you abuse children when you were 18 years old? And he says, I'd left home by then. I mean, he's not very smart, is it? I'd left home by then, but clearly he doesn't know what I know at this point, because I always put a lack of detail in the post. We talk about it on here. That's where you will get the detail. Now, you told me, if I'm saying that to you, your instant reaction is, I left home by then. And then to try and backpedal when he realized how he'd messed up, he then said, but children do that. And I'm thinking, well, did you think you were playing mummies and daddies with the 8-year-old when you were 18? Is that why you asked me that question? Or are you just trying to cover your tracks? That's what it sounded like to me, my brothers and sisters. That wasn't cool. You know, and he knew I was taping. So to me, I would have expected to come a little bit smarter than how you came. But you see, when you're not very clever, you're not very clever at concealing and doing what you're doing, you know? That was dubious to me, my brothers and sisters. And that drives me even further to me, that validated what the victims have told me. That conversation there validated what the victims had told me. You understand? Because this man had no idea that I knew that the abuse had taken place in his parents' house. He had no idea whatsoever. But your first reaction is, I'd left home by then? That ain't looking good, Jermaine. That's not looking good, DJ Tapadan, Remix King, whatever you call yourself. It's not looking good. There's no bad mind here against you. There are women that are accusing you of pedophilia. Do you understand me? Of troubling up children in nasty ways when you were 18. 18 is a man, 17, 18 years old. You know, he was saying, well, you know, kids do that stuff. No. You're not a kid at 16. You're sexually an adult. That's why the age of consent is 16 years old. Do you understand me? Yeah? It's not no picnic thing. If you're a 17, 18-year-old man, you got hair on your balls, and you should be knowing not to trouble 8-year-old children, 10-year-old children. You should know this thing. And on top of that, that wasn't enough for you. It's alleged that you were out gang raping with the others in the area. Yeah? I will push and make sure that you are brought to justice, especially after you're facing this about I'm not getting paid off you. You ain't got no money, apparently. I don't know you from Adam, but the women I've spoken to told me that you're as broke as a church mouse and you live pan uman yai tap. My father used to say, enough to live pan uman yai tap, you know, because as them quint, you drop off. That's what happens. You're bright and out of order. Nobody ain't bad-minding you because I don't know you from nowhere to be bad-minding you. I know that I have been contacted by several of your victims, and they have told us that you sexually abused them as children. And as far as I'm concerned, you need to be brought to justice. That's what it is with this individual. My brothers and sisters, I'm going to put the link in. I hope the perpetrators are watching. The alleged perpetrators are watching. And I hope, there it is. I hope that you can come on and talk, or somebody will come on and talk, because as usual, if you don't come on and talk, that will end the presentation for the evening, and we'll see where the pennies drop. But just know for a surety, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to put it in again and again. Just know for a surety, my brothers and sisters, that we always work in the background. Whenever you see a picture go up, whenever you see a case come forward, once it comes off this platform, it doesn't go anywhere. We're constantly working in the background. Unfortunately, it does take women a lot of time sometimes to find the courage to stand up to these individuals, you know, intimidating the women, intimidating. And all you enablers, all you that know what's going on, but still choose to defend the individuals, shame on you as always. And all of you that are naive enough to just blindly believe your loved one without really standing back and putting an objective eye on it, then you guys just need to, you really need to rethink, because you've got children. You are women, most of the women that do this. If it was you, you'd want to be believed. Do you understand? As I say, when people lie, yeah, invariably, when people lie about, click the link, my brothers and sisters, copy and paste it into your browser, jump on, make sure you connect your camera and your microphone so that you can actually get on. I don't know if you'll have any takers today. Come on, DJ Tapadan. Yeah, and all you fake profiles that was defending him, yeah, why are you on fake profiles? If you're so sure of your boy's innocence, why don't you come as yourself? This is the bit I don't really get. I really don't get it. You know, same for you, Marcus. All these fake profile people telling me that these women are lying. Why not lie at the time? People go, and why do you go to the police at the time? You know what makes me laugh about this situation? The black community never trusts the police. The black community treat the police like they're enemies. But the minute it's this kind of allegation, oh, go to the police. Oh, he got found not guilty. It must be true. Something's wrong. Something is desperately wrong. Putting in the link again. Come on, all you guys that was on the page, come and state your case and tell me why it is that you believe that these individuals are innocent. And I'll tell you why I think they're not, especially him. Especially him. He baited himself. It's a little bit like Kwaku. You remember Kwaku? When he come and push up his mouth in the argument and put himself into the narrative. You remember that stuff? You know, it's a little bit like that in a sense. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wasn't there. You wasn't there. I think I shared with this Marcus Nasty guy what happened when my ex-friend Punroy got called out as well. Now, I started the platform doing my thing, called out Vincent Rat, doing whatever I'm doing, okay? And I got contacted and read this long story in my DM. It was a horrendous story about a man that was abusing his daughter. And at the end of the DM, it said a name. And I was like, whoa, there's only one guy I know with that name. When I contacted the sister, it was my brethren, my bona fide brethren. Do you understand? And I believed her. I believed her before she gave me evidence that was just absolutely unrefutable. Absolutely unrefutable. The type of evidence that I wish everybody could have. You know, when I was exposed to that evidence, it was just a wrap from there. I absolutely obliterated him in person and on the platform. You know, I didn't hitch because I didn't see any reason why this person would come to me and tell me that he'd abused his own child. You know, and I'm not going to say too much about that. We've been through that already, but it's just an example. And I've said it time and time again. In fact, I even had a conversation with my son earlier on. And I said to him, like, you know, when he was 17, 18, lots of girls, he's a face boy. And I've said to him, have you ever been in a situation where you and your friends had sex with one girl that you thought she was consenting? He's going, no, mum, I don't do things like that. It's nasty. Do you know what I mean? Da, 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 da. I said to him, like, try no, don't make your name ever come up in this, is what I said to my own son, 26 years old. I said to him, try not make your name ever come up in anything like this, because I'll hang you out to dry worse. You understand? Than anybody I've ever hung out to dry on this thing. You know, it's my child. But I'm telling you straight, if an allegation came into me and I did the same type of investigations and it was about my son and it was seemingly true, it wouldn't be my son anymore. Would not be my son anymore. I am not just going to fly down and wildly call these girls liars just because it's my son. Yeah, they'd have to prove it. Just like every other victim that comes to us has to prove it. Victims and survivors alike, you know? But honestly, this blind defense, just because you know the guy, when you haven't even heard from the victims, you know? Yeah, fair enough. Well, you know, we're not just going to believe something we haven't seen. I keep on saying it time and time again. The receipts are for the court. These are appeals on this platform. We put up the pictures, okay? We put up the pictures so we can appeal for more victims to come forward. When I asked the agent, what would you suggest is a better way of appealing for these victims? She couldn't answer me. There was a bit of tumbleweed for a bit. And then she went, well, I don't know. I really don't know. Well, if you don't know, don't criticize, is what I'm saying. If you don't know, don't criticize, please. You understand? Too much detail. Even when we had, just now I was talking about the Marcus Nasty alleged victim. Too much detail in there for it to be a lie, in my opinion. You know, I've worked a lot with this group, whether it's perpetrators or victims. And I can tell you that when people are lying, there is a lack of detail. There is not often a clear location and things like this. You know, some of these women I speak to, they can tell you the color they were wearing. You know, there's people here that have been through stuff that can really identify with that. They can tell you the color they were wearing or the color of the wall. And these types of little details is what lead police and therapists and court staff and whoever works within the criminal justice system. These are the things that we look for when we are trying to determine truth or untruth. Do you understand? And I've yet to speak to a woman whose story that I've shared where there was a lack of detail. And if there was, I just wouldn't pursue it. You know, I've had loads of stuff like that. Loads and loads and loads of stuff like that. I can see I can see some of you are donating. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Yep. £3 challenge. That's good. I haven't got, I want to say a big up to PE. I don't know if you want me to say your name, but PE is a regular donator. And I really, really appreciate that, my sister. So I just want to say big up. PE, you know who you are. But I don't want to say your name in case you don't want your name. If you want your name, text me, let me know or whatever. And I will say your name. But I'm very, very grateful to the supporters of this platform who believe in what we are doing. Yes, you know, the brothers who get exposed don't like it. Their families don't like it. But we don't stand for them. And if they are found to be guilty, am I supposed to just pick up their fallout? You know? I do have a PayPal account, but I don't know how to link it, Joseph Henry. I don't know how to link it. I'll do that at some point. There's just so much to be done. I've still got lots of DMs at the moment with cases that I need to call out and to expose. Why has it come to this? Why aren't the police doing their job? As I say, we've got so many different reports that have been put in by different women, only for them to be disheartened, only for them to have to regress backwards because the police aren't doing anything about it. But they will. Oh, yes, they will. And the more we can structure ourselves, the more that we can bring a case of independent inquiries or judicial inquiries or whatever, which is what we're pushing for, legal teams and all the rest of it, the more that they're going to have to hear our voice. But we're not stopping. And there will be another march this year as well, my brothers and sisters. Last march was very successful. And we will be bringing that again in a more structured way. I think it was pretty structured for the limited time that we had anyway on the 16th of October. But let the 16th of October lodge in your mind and in your memories, because that is going to be the His Time Is Up date every year. Yeah, or as close as we can get it to the weekend, I think, because, you know, maybe we'll mark it. I don't know. People work and whatever. And yeah, moderator Keeks makes a very good point. It can happen when victims do not remember details. They go into freeze and zone out, or the mind blocks the trauma. Absolutely, 100%. You know, we saw that with quite a few of our victims that was the case, you know. But we want to get into schools. We will get into schools. I used to do a lot of schoolwork in the past that was around kind of PHSE and, you know, gangs, anti-gang stuff and whatever. But we're working at the moment to start to do that. We're going to start to do that. The program's already there. I just need to tweak them and make them relevant to what we're doing now. And then we'll start hitting the schools, because attitudes have to change. They really, really, really have to change. You know, they really, really have to change. And we have to do that from the bottom, you know, from the youngers. Year 4 is what I say, because by the time they're in year 5 and 6, they're starting to explore things, and attitudes from older brothers and whatever is already sinking in. You know, from year 4, we have to make girls and boys aware that it is not okay to get a bunch of your friends and have sex with a girl all at once, whether she's willing or unwilling. Whether she's willing or unwilling. I was breaking it down to my son earlier. I said to him, even if there's girls that were up for stuff like that, it's because they're damaged. They're damaged from the home. You know, because the average, I said to him, your sisters wouldn't do that, would they? You know, because he was making the point that he's aware that, you know, some girls are kind of up for that. You know, I'm like, they're not up for it. They're already damaged goods. If you're a responsible guy, don't touch them, even if they want you to, in that situation. That's the kind of mindset that we need to change, my brothers and sisters. No takers tonight. You guys are awfully silent. And also, I just don't understand where all the trolls were on the page. Don't get it. Like, so much to say and so much to defend. And yeah, no one's really here to defend their boy. I don't really get it, to be fair. I don't really get it. Don't really get it. But yeah, this Tapadan one really, really kind of disturbed me. Really disturbed me about I left home. Nothing to do with what I'd said. Nothing to do whatsoever with what I'd said, my brothers and sisters. But yes, my brothers and sisters, if you're not going to come on and chat to me, I am going to go. What time is it? Yeah, we've been on for a while. There was a little bit of a glitch there with the internet. It's just awfully quiet. I'm not really understanding what's happening. It's very interesting. There's the stream. Come on and have a chat. We'll see where we go with that. If not, I'm going to bid you guys farewell. Please keep donating, because yeah, you know what the cause is about. You know what the cause is about. Somebody says Tapadan done out here. Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But it's not a guarantee. They'll always make an excuse as to why this guy's innocent, you know. But I stand with the victim, and it wasn't an easy task for those two victims actually to tell me about what had gone on for them. There's others, but I'm not at liberty to share their stories today because of the backlash. Because of the backlash, I just find it so abhorrent. Honestly, it really does rip my heart to know that you've got women that actually want to unburden themselves, and they're being prevented from doing that, not necessarily because of their fear of the victim, their fear of the perpetrator, but because of the backlash of the women in their community. You know, and it's mainly women. It's mainly women defending. It really, really is. My computer's stuck. I'm just going to put up some information for you guys. So that's how you can donate. Cash App, fundamentally, because it's just such a slow process with GoFundMe and they take a percentage, basically. I don't have a problem with that, really, but because we are focusing our fundraising at the moment, it's probably just easier to do Cash App or do whatever you want, actually. A lot of people struggle with Cash App. It's a new concept in Britain, I think. It's very popular in the US. People prefer PayPal or what they know, you know. Please donate, my brothers and sisters. It goes to a good cause. It goes to bringing infrastructure. As you know, we're about to launch our helpline. These things take money. I'm using my own money to train the helpline staff, which I'm going to get to very, very soon, eventually. And that's what's going on, basically. So we need to train our staff as listeners. We need to train our volunteers, rather, as listeners. And we need to train them as Samaritans as well. And these things take time and money. So, yeah, donate, please do. But more importantly, right now, I would love somebody to come on and talk to me. Marcus Nasty, will you come on and speak to me? Defend your corner. You've actually indicated that you prefer to talk to the police. And I think that's brilliant. Go talk to the police, because I would urge these victims to go forward as well. And one thing I pointed out to his agent is that when you're dealing with these kinds of cases, we appeal for witnesses, because when you have a cohort of women, it is so much easier to secure a conviction in these cases. There's a lack of material evidence. Some of you guys that have been hearing this for a while are probably bored of me saying it now, but I have to keep on repeating it, because it's like it goes over the head of certain people. There's a lack of material evidence. There is no eyewitness. There is no CCTV. There is no DNA in these cases. There is corroboration, genealogy, and volume of victims coming forward together. That is what secures the convictions. That type of evidence. Or distinguishing marks, that's another one. That's very, very, very rare. Very rare that, you know, perpetrator may have a birthmark on his penis that an 8-year-old could never have seen had she not been abused, or he been abused, you know. Talking of which, big up Jay, who came on and told his story last week. That was so heartfelt, Jay. I hope that you've received the love that was going on last week. I know that you're a strong brother, and I certainly hope you're here tonight as well. I certainly hope you're here tonight, my brother. He was our first. For those of you that didn't see it last week, we have a taker. Hey, sis. How you doing?
Hey. I'm good. I've turned my camera off just because I look a hot mess.
That's okay. I feel like that right now, but, you know, it would be a bit weird if I had the camera off for the whole live.
But I just had to come on because listening to this is probably every week is so horrific, and it gets more horrific. And as I read the comments, I'm so impressed by our community, because I do think it's the strength of the people in that chat that stops a lot of these negative trolls stepping on. And
You mean negative trolls like this one, Miss K Bassey? It seems like they're all liars. The sister is just as lie. Come on and talk up your thing, K Bassey, or whatever your name is. Come and speak your thing. And I guarantee you that's probably a fake profile. Things like that about my sister.
I agree. And a lot of these people have probably 7, 8, 9, 10 profiles, and they just swap from one to the next. So they
I know Truths and Rights used to do that quite a lot, didn't he?
Yeah. But I just wanted to come and say, keep doing it. Nothing will stop her. This is like a runaway train, and it can only stop if we stop. So just keep doing what you're doing, because you are right now the voice of the silent. Those who are not speaking, you are that voice for them, and they need that. We need that in our community. I also wanted to share one little thing, and I'm sharing it because I'm kind of hoping that others are 90% probably doing it. Let's all do this. But on my way to work last week, I'm at the bus stop in Lewisham, and I can't help but watch everything. Since you started this, I watch everyone around children. I don't watch the children because I don't want them to be uncomfortable. So I watch everything that's going on around them. There was a man talking to she couldn't have been more than 13, and asking her directions. But my radar was just on. And the way he was like, and you could see she's answered and she's uncomfortable. So I stood right next to her. And as he's saying, so what school do you go to? And I said, you don't need to know what school she goes to. But I'm saying this as loudly as my voice will take it. How dare you? This is my daughter. The man was so disgusting. He ran. If you saw him, you would never have known. Like any other brother on the street. Anyone, you'd look and go, give him the nod. You're all right, my brother. This girl was 12 or 13. And the reason I said that story is because, it's one thing we can do in the community. Observe what's going on around our children. Who's talking to our children today? Because although it's historical, it's not stopped. It's ongoing, and we know this.
And they're not going to stop. When somebody has that affectation, when someone's that ill, they can't stop. Somebody said to me, told me the other day that they saw Vincent Rapp in somewhere. He was out on the street and they were in a shop or something like that, but he didn't know they could see him. They were looking through the window of the shop. And there was a lady standing by with a young girl, kind of prepubescent girl. And apparently the way that he was eyeing up this little girl, it was disgusting. This is what I was told. This is Vincent with his brought down self, was there still eyeing up young girls in that way, but he didn't think anybody could see him at the time. That's what I was told by this individual. He didn't think anyone could see him, but that person could see him through the window.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Yeah, of course we can believe it.
You can believe it. The man had the audacity and ego to come to the march thinking he could intimidate absolutely freaking everyone. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. He could absolutely intimidate all these beautiful, strong, amazing Black women and men who came to support. Yeah,
exactly.
He's never going to stop. This is why this platform is ridiculously important.
And actually, while we're on the subject of him, I can confirm that you remember it was kind of, we were surmising, it was conjecture whether or not he had prostate cancer. It's been confirmed, actually, as much as it can be confirmed, that he actually does have prostate cancer.
Wow. And may my creator look down on me and recognize that I'm a good person. As I say, he who harms children are going to feel the wrath of whatever God they believe in. Because you know what? Children are, Whitney said it, children are the future. What we do to our children creates what we have in our next generation.
But you know what?
I just find it really interesting that he's got prostate, not lung cancer, not
Yeah,
stomach cancer,
absolutely.
prostate. I said, yo.
Absolutely. But it's still not enough. It feels, I hope he's, anyway, I should come off now. I just had to say a few words and say,
Blessed love, my sis.
Love you, girl. Take care.
Blessed. All right, take care. All right, yes. One person. Any more takers for a chat? I can see that the moderators are asking some of the trolls to come on. Somebody says, only one Sosa says, who cares what he's got? It's not our issue. Well, it kind of is what happens to Vincent, right? We don't want him to die just yet. We'd like to get him in a dock before that happens, We'd like for whatever takes place next. We'd like to know what takes place. We'd like to know what takes place next is happening in a prison cell. I'm not wishing death on no one. That's not mine to do. I am not God. But what I will say, if that person is in that situation, and that situation is obviously very life-threatening, I'd like to know that it happens in a police cell. That's all I'm saying. There's the cash out, my brothers and sisters. Oh, I don't know what happened there. It looks a bit off, that link, by the way. Oh, I don't know what happened. Is that the way it appears on the screen? Let's have a look. Oh, okay. Going to put the link in one more time. Yeah, somebody says even though his Tig is dead, he still has his nasty ways. Absolutely. But we're not talking about him tonight. I'm not giving him any energy. I just wanted to kind of update you on that. I'm going to be catching up with some of that in terms of the investigation and different people very, very soon, because, that needs to be progress. It is progressing, but it needs to kind of get a little bit of a kick up the bum. Double D, I'm not even posting your things, because you're too awful. I'm not. I'm just not. I can't deal with you. I really, really can't. But yeah, fun and joke aside, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes in Jamaica they say, Double D, correct me if I'm wrong. My dad used to say, you have to take bad sinting, make joke. Because sometimes it will mad you. The volume and the weight of things will actually mad you, So yeah, let me put the link in one more time if anybody else wants to come on. Hopefully they do. And let's get into some of the comments as well. Yeah, sister says, or brother, I think, I don't know. Iabo says, Whitney, I believe that children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Absolutely, I love that song. But yeah, it's such an appropriate and powerful set of lyrics, isn't it? Children are our future and they should lead the way, Okay, brother wants to come on. Yeah, come on, my brother. Come on, brother Royce, come on. What you got to do is copy and paste the link. It's there on the screen. It's in the chat. You can copy and paste it out of the chat. It's just under your name, I think. So copy and paste that out of the chat, and then hit the link and it will start to take you through. You can do that, my brother. We'll wait for you. I was going to wrap up because I thought nobody else was coming, but we will wait for you. Yes, we will. But all I can say about the two brothers let me talk about Marcus, because I am separating them a bit. It was, as much as I put the post together, they gang rape together, which is absolutely, totally abhorrent and unacceptable. Yeah, it's disgusting at the end of the day, if what's being said is true. In fact, let me not even term it like that. It's allegedly, if it's alleged. If that can be proven in a court of law, then everybody will be much more satisfied. I believe the victims. And if that's what you people have been doing, Marcus, you need to atone fully. It's not just about saying about the stabbings and things like that you've done. There's other things you've done, and it ain't cool, my brother. But I am still about atonement. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And people can redeem themselves from certain things. I personally don't think that pedophiles can be redeemed. But when it comes on to other things, there can be a redemption, especially if that's not your thing, especially if you're a young guy caught up on drugs, doing your thing, and you behave that way, and now you've changed. That's something. There's still got to be something said about that.
You know, a lot of people say, oh, you just hate black men. And, you know, it's always in the comments. It's in the recent comments. I can't believe you're doing this to black men. Why doesn't anybody care about what happens to black women? Do you understand? It's like, well, you're doing this to black men. You're tearing black men down. Now, black men be tearing themselves down when they go and gang rape our daughters. They tear themselves down. And what's happening now is that we see the hand of karma coming on. Yes, my brother. Blessed love, bro.
Yo!
Blessed love. It's been a minute.
How you doing, babe?
I'm all right. It's been about 20 years or something, hasn't it? I know this brother, people. I know this brother very well. I used to work with him. Yes. How you doing, my brother? It's really
I'm
good.
good, you know. I'm good.
Come on, because not enough men come on and give us
Yeah.
opinion.
So I've been watching for a while, yeah. And what I'm going to say, I'm going to speak the way I see things, yeah. Now, I've worked with you, like you said, many years ago. And what was stuck with me was how we used to have some real conversations, you know, putting the world to rights, you know, having different perspectives and things like that. And what I will come on and say now is I know this woman very well. I've had conversation with her and I vouch for her, right? Whatever anyone will say, I'm speaking out, I see her, right? And that's my opinion, right? No one can tell me. You may have an opinion and say what you want to say, but my opinion is this woman is real. I know this woman loves black man. So don't no one come and talk and say that she's out there for hating black men, right? That's a nonsense. I'll say that here and now, right? One of the reasons why I come on here today is I believe a lot of us men have failed our women, right? I believe a lot of our men have to, it shouldn't be a fight for just the women. I believe we have to be allies. And when we see something wrong, we need to have the conviction and the balls to come and say what's right and what's wrong. And for me, this is why I've come on, because I just think to myself personally, too many times we sit back and we don't defend the team. And I have 3 girls. I have a mother. I have a sister. I have aunties. I have girlfriends that are just my friends. And when I see it,
oh, you're freezing. You're freezing, brother. If it clicks off, Royce, jump on and jump off and jump back in, okay? But while the brother gets his connection together, yeah, I worked with this brother in the youth service, like, when my other
women coming on it.
Oh, you're back. I
Right.
think. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, go ahead.
Judged unfairly. I can't sit around and allow that to happen. If
You know,
the
you
woman,
cut out just then. We didn't see you, so just take us back like 2 minutes or a minute, 1 minute in what you were saying, because your
Okay,
camera went, your connection went. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You were
what
saying
I'm
about men need to take responsibility, which I completely agree with.
Yeah, I think, yeah, for me, I think I sometimes, if I be totally honest, I get embarrassed as being a man. I'm a proud man, but I'm embarrassed when I see the behavior of some of us as men. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for us to see that. Because if we've got women that we love, 9 out of 10 men that I know, I'll probably say 9.5 men, 9 out of 10 men that I know love their mums. So when we've got mums that we love, right, how dare we think it's okay to treat women in that way? Do you understand? I
100%.
think there's certain times in my life that I would have probably not challenged certain things, but I have a responsibility now. I've got 3 girls of my own, right? And we can't just keep on allowing this to happen. So for me, when I see certain things, it embarrasses me as a man. And I think if I just stand by and say nothing, I'm just as guilty. And I don't want to. As far as I'm concerned, we're either part of the problem or part of the solution.
Yeah.
There's no grey area on this one. And as far as I'm concerned, this is why I'm coming out and talking. This is why I'm coming out and defending. Right? If what I will say is, if the woman is lying, let's say for argument's sake, right? Let's deal with that then. But I think what's really important is not disbelieving the women first. Because let's say for argument's sake, let me put myself in that position. If any woman was to call me out, I'm coming out there and defending 150,000%, proving myself that I'm innocent. So sometimes I get it when men may feel hard done by, but let's not make it about us. If we get falsely accused, come and defend the thing. Let's come and defend the thing. So, like I said, I know you all know Afua, but me know as Afi.
I haven't been called Afi in about 20 years. I swear down. I haven't. But Royce, why do you think that men? Because it's not even at the point where someone's accused, is it? You're a guy. You've been around guys, you know, as your peer group or whatever. But it seems to me you've got a group of friends, and there's always at least one in that group. Not every group, though. Actually, I can't say that.
Yeah.
But there's always, you know, at least one guy, somebody knows him, that likes the young girls. He kind of likes it. And what he might show you is that he deals with the 16, 17-year-olds because they're legal. But that, to me, it sends up a red flag, like, how low will you go? But it seems that nobody says anything about the 16, 17-year-old, especially if the girl is
honestly, I've never known anyone personally that has that mindset of the people.
You wouldn't, Royston, because you're an upstanding, exemplary black man. As I know you, you're a proper brother. You understand? You take care of your responsibilities. Your back is straight. You are upright. There's no doubt with you. Do you understand? So that's why I kind of took back. I kind of rephrased what I said, because I was thinking Royston wouldn't know them kind of people.
But what I will say to you,
wouldn't know them.
I share a story with you, though. I remember one time I was in Jamaica, and I was there was a girl that crossed the road, and all the men was talking about this girl, and I remember I was like, I'm looking at this girl and I'm seeing in a school uniform. I'm like, and I kid you not, they was all talking about, no man, she all right. And I'm like, no. I'm like, what do you mean she's not all right? She a big woman, look, you don't see her breasts. And I was like, that for me is out of bounds. And they all started laughing at me. They all mugged me off. Like there was something wrong with me. And I remember feeling really uncomfortable. And I remember to the point where I couldn't even talk with them, because they was all laughing at me as if there was something wrong with me, because I was saying, as far as I'm concerned, if she's that age, she's got a school uniform on, she could have pretty like Susumba. She is out of bounds.
Absolutely.
And I was laughed at. There must have, and I tell you the truth, there must have been about 6 to 8 men, young men, and it was like, this girl, I would say no more than 14. And not one of these men at the time, everyone was in the same mindset, because they laughed. They was, and I'm talking about laugh, be hard, like foolish Englishman. Yeah. And I was like, what? So,
and in Jamaica, that is
me,
so.
Let's talk the talk. So when I seen what you've been doing, for me, I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of you. I urge more men to be allies in this thing, because without us standing firm and supporting and backing our women, it's allowed to go on unnoticed. Or no, and let me change that. It is noticed, but too many times people turn a blind eye. And for me, that's why I've got to come out there, because it you know what? It upsets me.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. You know,
Oh.
when I see this, sometimes it's like it's painful. It pains me.
You know what, my brother,
Because
you are an absolute king. You're an absolute
it
king.
pains
You're
me.
the kind of
It
brother
pains me.
that
It pains me
you're
because
breaking up, bro.
right. Sorry, it pains me because I think the reason why it pains me so much is because I'm a man, and when you look at me, you can't determine that this bread is not like that. And it's not wrong to be tarred with that brush because I am a man. And it hurts me that we think it's okay. It's not okay. So I need to come on there to kind of just say, you know what, we need to fix up as a community. We need to support what's right over wrong. This isn't about a friendship thing or a loyalty thing. It's about right and wrong, and that's why I'm on there today. Is saying, no, it's wrong, and we can't condone that and turn a blind eye because I've got females that I love dearly. I've got daughters, you understand. I've got nieces, and I don't want no one to mistreat them like that. So come on, it's a plea, you know, to less.
Bless your heart, my brother. Bless your heart, honestly. You know what? You represent the majority of our brothers because these people are not in the majority. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that. Brothers shedding tears, you know. This is a proper black man, people. This is who we are in our community. This is who we are in our community. Not these raiments, you know? Not these raiments, Royce. I want to believe that they are in the minority. And no, I don't like them kind of black man. These are the brothers I love. When people say I don't like black man, I like my black man, yes, proper black men. That's who I love.
I know you do, and that's why I've heard it saying about people saying about she's hating on black men. I know you. You're not that. You're not that, and I would go to my grave defending you on that because I know you're not someone that hates black men. You love your black men. I know me and you've reasoned for sometimes, you know, really reasoned, you know, and I know the essence of you. I know you're a woman with loyalty and integrity. So for me, I'm not going to sit around and hear people talk shit about Afi and when it's not true. You understand? And so listen, this is a platform for, I've heard you often saying about survivors, you know. I've got nothing but respect for any person that comes on here and tells their truth, you know. May God bless you guys. Afi, continue doing what you do. I love you to the max. I respect
Royce,
you
can you make sure you DM me on Instagram with your number? Because I lost your number years ago, different phones and whatever.
Okay.
Like literally have not spoken to this brother in what, 20 years?
No,
Probably.
No,
but maybe a little bit less than that actually. I forgot. Yeah. About 10.
So
about 10 years then.
6 years.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
wow.
remember?
Is
Do you
it
know?
6?
Do you remember when I saw you?
I remember when you last saw me. That's why I just remembered. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
years.
a happy occasion, was it?
No.
So it's 6 years already. Wow.
Yeah.
But prior to
already.
that, I hadn't seen you in probably about 10.
Yeah. For real.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we hadn't worked together since my children were small, and my son's now 26, and that other little one is 22, and the other one's 34. So it's a long time. Remember, they were a little bit when we were working together. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Oh, my brother. Please DM me with your number, bro. We need to catch up.
I will do, babe. Listen,
all right.
God bless you. Afi, keep doing your thing. You know what? I believe you. I'm gonna support you. And you know what? At the end of the day, like I said, it's about having allies for our women. Do you understand? Ain't about throwing them under the bus, right? I actually think I've got a theory why black women are so strong. Right, and I'm gonna just put it out there. I think it's because our failings, right, has made black women strong. Now, there's an argument for that, but at the end of the day, that's a whole different discussion. So listen, continue doing your things.
Blessed love, bro.
Yeah.
Blessed
Bye
love.
bye, darling.
Make sure you DM me, okay? All right.
Yes, I
Bless
will
up.
do. All right,
Bless
then.
up.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Brother was shedding tears, yeah? Yo, my brothers and sisters, I'm so glad that brother came on because he's one of the sweetest men I know. He's such a good guy. He's such a good guy. Who wanted to just reach through the screen and hug him? You know, we're going to catch up, my brother. We're going to catch up, honestly. But yes, my brothers and sisters, you know, you heard that from a proper black man, a real black man. Take responsibility. Take responsibility for your peers, because we're not out with the boys at night time. You know, we're just at the butt end of things. We're not out there. It's only really going to change when, you know, that story that he told about Jamaica is turned on its head. When it's the odd one out looking at the girl and all the others have a go at him. You know, I wouldn't raise a girl child in Jamaica because of these attitudes. I used to think I was going to go and live out there and da 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 da. No, I live in Africa, but I wouldn't. I would never do it because of these attitudes. Double D, you know what goes on in Jamaica. It is not safe for young girls, schoolgirls. It really isn't. They're a target, and the men are unapologetic over there, let me tell you. And it's not every man. I can't say it's every Jamaican man. That's actual rubbish. But it's a mindset out there. It's part of their culture almost with certain men. It's very, very unsafe for young girls, in my opinion. You know, I wouldn't raise a girl child in Jamaica. But yes, my brothers and sisters, it's been a long one. It's been a full one. And I doubt anybody else is going to come on and talk right now. It's late in the day. As usual, I just love you guys so much. And yes, you know, you see that his time is up, family. They don't take no talk. They don't take no prisoners when certain people come on to try and violate the platform. Do you remember how many people I used to have to block? Because even when someone was telling their story, they'd still be trolling. You know, what's happened to us as a people? Honestly, my brothers and sisters, what has happened to us? Do you know what? As I've said that, incidentally, just to come slightly off topic, my brothers and sisters, my daughter came to me today and told me that on Wednesday, it's completely unrelated to anything we're talking about, but I just want to share it. She told me that on Wednesday, her teachers have said that all the kids need to come in yellow and blue to support Ukraine. And I just went mad. I'm going to be calling the school on Monday, and I'm going to explain to them why she's not coming in yellow and blue and why she will be draped in the Pan-African flag on that day. Now, I don't have anything against any innocent civilians in the Ukraine. I think it's disgusting that any civilian has to go through war. But I just could not believe the rank hypocrisy of these people. You know, they were quite happy for the Syrian refugees to die on the high seas, the children and everything to die on the high seas. Nobody asked my child to dress up in the Syrian flag colors when this was all going on, or whoever else that we've had, you know. But now that all of a sudden they want my black child, who is very aware that African students are being held at the Ukrainian border. Well, not even at the border. Those are the ones that actually managed to make it to the border. They're the ones that make it to the border because the Ukrainians are not letting them out of the cities. They're leaving them there to be bombed because they are black African students. Do you understand me? And those who manage to slip through that net and make it to a border, they're not being let in. Poland ain't letting them in, and they've been very unapologetic about that. Do you understand? So she's very aware of those issues that isn't being shown in the mainstream press. And they want my youth to come in a Ukrainian flag. I'm draping her in the Pan-African flag, in the red, the black, and the green to signify all of the black people in Ukraine that are suffering. And last I looked, the Ukrainians, weren't they the CSC capital of the world? That's what they used to call them. You know, the people, they want people to bring them into their house and whatever. You better come with a DBS because, you know, the reputation hitherto this conflict wasn't good when it came onto that particular country. And what we do know is that they have very strong bases of neo-Nazis in that country. So I'm going to say here and now on this platform, black people, take your mouth out of the people them argument. Do you understand? It's not our fight. at the end of the day. And if we had any sense, what we would be doing is aligning ourselves, with each other, building up Africa and making sure that we are in a very strong position when this conflict is over to be able to trade and deal with what has been lost. And you know, this other thing as well, people are saying, someone just said their child will go in a Russian flag before anything else. I hear that, but I hear a lot of people defending Russia as well. Russia didn't need to invade Africa because it has its own natural resources. Russia didn't need it. They've got a wealth of natural resources, oil, this, that, and the devil knows what. Even shungite comes from there, exclusively from there. So they didn't really need to get on with that. And they've helped Africa because it's like, well, you know, let me become friends with my enemies, with my enemies, if that makes sense. Let me become, I don't know what the saying is, but you know what I mean. You know, Nightmare 71's got it right. I'm not going to put it on the screen. But yeah, I mean, I was so upset by that because we've not seen that anywhere in the mainstream press, what's been going on with the African refugees over there. But yet you want my child to come drape up themselves in whatever. But I just thought that would be my little last gripe for the night, my brothers and sisters. Them ultra order. You know? No, none of them are our friends. Every single one of them have had a hand in either exploiting us or hating us at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters. So I'm just not in it. I feel sorry for the civilians over there if they are innocent, those who are innocent, because there's a lot of bad people around, you know. It's not right. Children shouldn't, and women and all these people shouldn't be allowed to die. But at the same time, there's nobody outcrying, even in the Ukraine, about what's happening to our brothers and sisters in those regions, you know. Russian people don't, you know, for the most part, it's quite a racist country. So is the Ukraine. And as far as I'm concerned, if you ain't a friend of my people, then I'm afraid that I'm your enemy. And it's as simple as that. I make no apologies for that. Let them get on with their tribal war and do their own thing. I'm not on one side or the other. I'm on the side of my people. And I want to raise the awareness about what's going on over there with our people. Simple as that. Nobody ever talks about all the black people that Hitler killed. But on that note, my brothers and sisters, thank you so much for another full week. We will be here again next week, and we will ensure that we are on top of the game. I'm going to say one last appeal to Marcus Nasty. If you know you did these things, my brother, atone. I think you've got it in you to atone. Reach out to me, and I will facilitate, whether it's called truth and reconciliation or restorative justice. I believe in that. You know, if we can come to that kind of agreement and deal with our stuff, if the victims are willing, you know, I don't know how healed they are to get to that stage, but there will have to be a period of atonement. If you know you've done these things, there will have to be a period of atonement if you say you want to turn your life around. I think that you're redeemable somewhere, Marcus Nasty. But when it comes to the one name, Tapadan DJ Mix, Jermaine, somebody, whatever his name is, I don't think you got no redemption in you. Certainly not from that conversation. And as far as I'm concerned, your time is up. Your time is up. And I will be pushing to ensure that you're brought to justice. Because in my opinion, you're quite a nasty piece of work. And that's my final word on the matter. Next week, we're going to be looking at probably maybe a little bit more in depth into Wallace Hermit and that case and what took place with that. I'm hoping to have some rat updates, and we will probably discussing what the Clark's next moves are, because as I say, this person had the brightness to come and email me. My brothers and sisters, have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful week. And yeah, let's just hope they do the right thing. Somebody says do the right thing, Marcus. You know, there's a bit of grace there for you, you know, in the same way that when we were dealing with Quincy, if you remember rightly, and I said to him, allow him some grace because he was raised by a monster, you know, allow him some grace. I'm saying allow Marcus, Nasty some grace in the sense that he needs to come and atone. Otherwise, there is no grace for you. But there's a little corner there, because I do believe people can turn their stuff around, you know, things like that. The other one, nonce. Sorry. Nonces don't get redemption, not on here. My brothers and sisters, have a wonderful weekend. Stay blessed, stay calm, and I will see you this time next week. Blessed love, my brothers and sisters. Blessed love. Thank you.